report for 2019. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Alicia.
This year our team of journalists have decided to report on our school life in the past.
The decade that interested us the most was the 1960s. This is handy because our school was started in 1969 and will be celebrating its 5th birthday later this year.
Our report will feature some interviews with the teachers who were around in the 1960s. Life must have been kind to them.
We also visited some of the older schools in our area and the Scotland Street School Museum in Glasgow. This gave us better ideas of what life was like back then. Enjoy.
The 1960s was a time when there was a lot of changes happening. It saw the beginning of pop culture as we know it today. The Beatles were the One Direction of the day, and the Supremes were the Little Mix. The beef-high haircuts were big in style and big in size. By contrast, the skirts were getting smaller. Celtic were the king of Europe in 1967, and our neighbours won't let us forget who won the World Cup the previous year. USA and Russia were having a race to space in the year of the first moon landing. Our school was first opened its doors. Schools were very different back in the day, and our report is going to focus on the different in discipline, ways of teaching and uniform.
Teacher, leave them kids alone.
How was discipline changed in the 60s?
What would happen is that you would, if you were badly behaved, you got a belt, which every teacher had a belt in the classroom. And if you talked too much, or if you misbehaved, or if you didn't do what you were told, you would be given the belt, and you had to hold your hands out, and you were hit across the hands with a leather belt. Teachers were very stern. Teachers that didn't always teach to what people could know and understand, and the belt were kind of the way things were disciplined. So things were very strict.
Boys and girls, if I had a naughty girl in my class. Now, what do I mean by naughty? Have any of you ever been late for school?
Yeah.
Did you bring a wee note to say why you were late? That was bad. You would get the belt. Have any of you eat sweeties in the class? I'm sure you have, because that would be bad as well. Do you talk in class?
Yeah.
That's bad too. The only time you should talk is when you're talking to the teacher. Well, if she was in my class and she had been bad, I would call her down to the front. Get your hands up, Gemma. Oh, look, she knows exactly how to do this. Boys and girls, I think we've got somebody who's had to do this before. I think she's a badger. So, knowing that she's bad, we now know this. We need to decide how many of the belt is she to get.
5.
Well, if she was only a wee bit bad, we'd only give her one of the belt. But, depending on how bad she is, it goes from 1 all the way up to 9. Now, I don't know her at all, but you do. How bad a person is she? How many of the belt do you think she should get?
9.
9? What do you think?
10,000.
10,000? Oh, you're especially cruel today. Boys and girls, I'll tell you what, we'll let her off a wee bit, we'll only give her 1.
Okay, we'll spare that.
So, watch this. We would lay the belt out along here like that. 1 so it catches her in the hand, but 2 so it curls round and catches her on the wrist, because that's really sore. I like this bit. So, what we'll do, are you ready, ma'am? The belt goes over my shoulder, and then as hard as I can. 1, 2, 3. Boys and girls, this is her lucky day, because I'm not allowed to give anyone the belt anymore. see every time I say that, I feel awfully sad. It used to be good giving people the belt. I feel as if a bit of me inside is
I was actually quite enjoying myself.
good for you. But boys and girls, this is what it was like in the old days. This is how you get punished in the old days. That's why, like these girls, you wouldn't have spoke to anyone in the class. Yes.
Oh, you're not allowed to, see if you moved your hands into your other one.
What?
See if you moved your hands, like, say if your hands were over this, and you did this.
Right, I'm going to show you. Stand up. Put your hands out. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to swing this towards your hands. And what I want you to do, what they used to do is they would move their hands away like that and bring them back. Okay? Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Ho! Now you think, no, stand up, keep your hands up. So you think you're being awfully smart, yes?
No.
The teacher didn't get me the belt. What the teacher then done was bring the belt up from underneath and catch you in the back of the hands. And that was even sort of. Okay, boys and girls, up you get.
Discipline, I suppose, was harder, if you like. There was less of the discussion about what you did something wrong, you took your punishment, it was over and done with. And if your parents got to know about it, you probably got a hammering from them as well. So discipline was, if anything, a bit harder, although the majority of teachers use the same kind of techniques as we use nowadays. Talk you over doing something that you shouldn't be doing. They make you as comfortable as possible in class. You don't want to upset you too much. So although the belt was there, and I remember coming into teaching and I was told in no uncertain terms by a head teacher, you need to use the belt. I didn't want to, but if the situation arose and it was warranted, you used it. End of story. And that usually was instant, over and done with. Very few folk came back 2 or 3 times to get a belt from any kind of teacher. You were legally allowed to give someone 6 of the belt.
6.
Any one time. And that was, but it had to be administered properly. When you gave the belt, incidentally, if you hit somebody on the wrist, that was not legal. It had to be on the palm of the hand only. If you'd hit it anywhere else, questionable.
The teachers are not so strict nowadays, and the tables are different.
It's like much stricter back then, like it's not even that strict anymore. Like back then if you got in like trouble or something like that, you'd get a belt, but like nowadays you just get a warning.
The difference is huge. It was so much stricter than the schools nowadays. You got hit with the belt, so that's a lot more strict, and you got kind of punished for simple things like turning your head to the left and looking at someone, or even maybe just not having your arms on the desk. You would get a belt for it.
I think you're pretty shabby. Sit up straight. Head up. Shoulders back. Chest out. Fold your arms. Keep them off the desk. Don't be lazy.
I remember, this was in secondary school certainly, a whole class was late for the teacher. They hadn't realised what room it was in, and the whole class had gone for a wander around school, and we got there late, and the teacher belted everybody in the class. 40 people got the belt, and everyone was dying to get to the end of the line, because they knew by the time that she got to the end of the line she wasn't going to be hitting you quite so hard, because she started off really hammering at people, hitting people hard with the belt. But by the time she got to the end, she was so exhausted that she couldn't hit you hard. But that just shows you how unreal that was, that people got the belt for being late for class. Not very good, David. You begin it quite a lot.
I know.
Teacher, leave them kids alone.
Have teaching methods changed, and if so, in what way?
Well, no technology. Zero technology. No smart boards, nothing. You had a blackboard. You got notes on the blackboard which you wrote down in a jotter. You maybe got printed sheets as well. It was more you sitting there taking down notes. Some teachers would give you, I remember my history teacher, and I was interested in history and did history up to higher, and he just sat and read out his notes and we copied them down and we maybe had a little discussion about it, but that was really how we learned.
It can only be described as chalk and talk. So she would write on the blackboard, and if you weren't too quick to copy something down, it'd be rubbed out before you'd actually finish copying it. So if you weren't a fast writer, you didn't get all the notes down. Quite different.
It'd be embarrassing to ask for help from the teacher because your friends would laugh at you.
So boys and girls, another way we could have dealt with him. We could have got that big pointy hat thing. What was that called? Did we know? No, it was a pointy hat, the Dunseys hat, that's it. And what we would have done, we would have put that on his head and we would just have laughed at him all day. We would have humiliated him for being stupid. That's what we'd done in the old days. We poked fun at the stupid people like him.
Nowadays, you would learn at your own pace. So you'd be given work that is appropriate to where you are in your learning and what you can understand. So work is very much geared to an individual pupil. In the 60s, everybody got the same test. So you would have a test on a Friday and everyone would sit exactly the same test. So there was no differences whether you were bright or not so bright. And the teacher would mark the test and everyone would change desks. So the people who got the highest scores would sit in the back end of the classroom and the people with the lowest scores would sit in the front row of the classroom. And that happened every week. So every week you would change your desk, move your desk. And that was all very well if you were one of the people who was one of the bright ones in the class and you always got to sit in the back row. But for people who really struggled with their learning, they were always sitting down the front of the class. So they were near the teacher and the teacher could see them and keep an eye on them.
We know you are too young for the
Qualification exam, I think is what it is, isn't it?
but do you have any opinion on that?
It was not very good because not everybody is clever, and opportunities in the grammar school or the John Neilston were obviously much better opportunities for people. People would do higher levels of qualifications, whereas if you went to a junior secondary, the expectation would be that you would leave at the end of 4th year, or for some at that time it was actually a 3rd year. Well, 15 was the leaving age. That was in the 70s. 15 was the leaving age. So you could leave school at 15 or stay on. So a lot of young people went to junior secondary and left school at the end of 3rd year. So I didn't really agree with that.
A qualifying exam that proved that you were academically capable of going into the senior high. So you could, and I went to this, she was in another primary actually in Glasgow and they were moving to Paisley. She sat the qualifying exam for Paisley Grammar and she was able therefore to go into Paisley Grammar rather than go to a school in Linwood, it was Linwood High they were living in, rather than go there, which was really a junior high. So the qualifying exam was one that allowed pupils to actually go directly into a senior high. And in the senior highs in Paisley Grammar, the classes were strictly organised A, B, C as well, in terms of ability. So if you're in the top grouping, you're in the A grouping. And that would all depend on your ability, the way you passed in the qualifying exam. If you did well in it, you were in the top A section. If you were not so good, you might be in the B section.
Teacher, leave them kids alone.
Uniform is probably still there, maybe not quite as strict. We don't insist on everybody having absolutely colourless socks, but you have your shirt, your tie, your blazer, your trousers, your skirts, whatever. Girls weren't allowed to wear trousers in my day. That would be no way. Just wouldn't get that. You have to wear a skirt. and if necessary, you would change when you go there. Yeah, we could enforce it to that, right? You can imagine when Castlehead started up, we had 500 in first and second year, and every single pupil was in full uniform all the time. And that was the job that teachers had to do, was enforce uniform, and we wore gowns, academic gowns, when we were in the school. Not in the science lab, because it would be dangerous. We took them off. But if you were moving about the school, you wore an academic gown. So teachers had a uniform as well.
What happens if the teachers didn't wear it?
Head teacher would have a word with you about it, and your position in the school might be at risk. There was a thing called the Castlehead haircut in the 70s, where boys' hair had to be cut 1 inch above the collar, exactly. And there was an assistant head who went round, he was a technical teacher, ran around with a steel rule, stuck it down the back of your neck, measured the distance between the bottom of your hair and your collar. It wasn't exactly an inch, you could be sent home to get a haircut. And we did send a few home to get haircuts. That's what happened. That's the very early days of Castlehead.
Our school was opened in 1969 and took in a lot of young people, some who had struggles with their learning and some who struggled because they had a physical disability. So they may have been in a wheelchair, or they may have had a visual impairment, or it may be that they walked with calipers, because lots of people in the 60s suffered from polio and had polio as a child and lost the use of their legs. So they might still have been able to walk, but they would have had these calipers on their legs. So the school was named after Mary Russell, and Mary Russell was a lady who worked tirelessly in Renfrewshire to support young people who had whether it be a learning disability or a physical disability. She wanted them to do their best, and she started up the school. She worked in a school called Sandyford out in the Renfrew Road, and the Sandyford School is what really became the Mary Russell School that was named after her.
That on his head.
So we all agreed that there were very many differences to the schools we know now from the 1960s, and that brings us to the end of the report. Many thanks for watching.
You can't have any police!